Hello, this is Erie County District Attorney John Flynn, and welcome to our weekly YouTube video that we do where we talk about various issues that are occurring here in Erie County and across the state and nation, quite frankly. First of all, I want to point out a new photograph that I have behind me here, which is my youngest daughter back here, Gracie, and I got her new senior portrait back here. So all the TV cameras across the town you can now see Gracie in the background with my other children. So recently we talked about, I talked about in Albany some measures that the New York State Chief of Police Association have been advocating and are now advocating as far as criminal justice reform. And let me also say, it's not just criminal justice reform, it's sensible criminal justice reform. So I had the pleasure of being with the New York State Chief of Police Association along with the police commissioner of the city of New York. And we were in Albany last week, quite frankly, on December 9th, 2021 here, where we were standing in front of the Capitol there in Albany, and we were advocating for some sensible changes. First change we're talking about is bail reform. Obviously, there's been a lot of talk about bail reform over the past couple of years, but we're proposing two significant changes. One that would kind of side with the progressive types, for lack of a better phrase, and one that would side with the law and order types. So each side is going to get something here. We're proposing the total elimination of cash bail, getting rid of cash bail totally, which is a very progressive idea, quite frankly. And so law enforcement, the chief of police in the state of New York are behind this. A number of DAs, including myself, are behind it as well. However, in exchange for that, we want to have judges be able to factor in public safety when they're making a decision on whether to keep someone in custody or let someone out of custody pre-trial. So every other state in the union and the federal government, everyone else is allowed to factor in public safety. Here to one extent or the other, okay? Here in New York, we should be too. And so that's what we're advocating for. That is middle of the road, common sense reform. With regard to discovery, obviously us prosecutors and us in law enforcement think it's unfair that we have to turn everything over within 15 days. We're asking for a staggered discovery schedule so that we can have time to gather it all and to turn it over, again, in a timely fashion. We're not talking about going back to the way it was before and dumping it on a defense attorney the day before a trial. We're talking about just a staggered system here where we can have a timely manner and a manner that basically allows us to do our job, which we cannot do right now, quite frankly, under the new discovery rules, in a sensible, realistic time frame. Thirdly, we're asking for some appearance ticket reform, okay, where right now law enforcement is required to give appearance tickets out on a lot of offenses. Some of them don't deserve appearance tickets. Some of them, the individual deserves to be held until they can see a judge and arrested, all right? So again, not everything, not going back to the way it was, just a few tweaks. And finally, the last thing we want to do is that we want to have, under the raise the age legislation, which was passed a number of years ago, we want to be able to have gun possession cases kept with DAs, with me. Right now, pretty much all gun possession cases, again, not shootings, to be fair, not homicides, but just simple gun possession cases, those are all going to family court. That's not the way it should be. Those should be tried in the youth part of adult court, okay? And I should be able to keep those cases because the individuals, quite frankly, young kids who are getting caught with guns are the ones using guns someday. And we need to hold them accountable for having guns in the first place. So again, these are common sense reforms, minor tweaks, minor measures to change laws that I believe went too far. And here in Erie County, the Erie County DA is standing with law enforcement. I'm standing with the commissioner of the police in New York City. I'm standing with police chiefs across the state, asking for these common sense reforms. And I'm hopeful that other DAs and, quite frankly, our DA association will get on board as well. Happy holidays, everyone, and we'll see you next year.